What's up, everyone? My name is Schilling.
And I am Pet the Cats. And today, after a long wait,
As usual.
Battlefield 3. Wait. Did you have something to say? Don't you interrupt my introduction. Thank you very much, sir.
I'm terribly sorry. Usually I'm
Yes,
quiet
but
in these
anyway.
introductions. Continue.
Generally. But today, after a very long wait, Battlefield 3 has been made available to all of the world. Essentially, us North Americans, got it on the 25th, while the Europeans, even though DICE is a Swedish company, pretty much got screwed over.
America.
And were allowed access 3 days later.
Mm.
So I actually feel bad for those people, as we did have a 3-day head start. But in the long scheme of things, obviously that holds no real value. So essentially, what do we want to talk about today? Today, I want to give an honest review, a review from our perspective that is very impromptu and conversational, and give our opinions that aren't biased by any means. Well, of course they're biased, because as long veterans of the series, we have various things that we expect, and those things are very important to us. So, Michael, we have to give our opinions about this game, and we have to do it in an unbiased way that is not relevant to IGN, as you cannot spell ignorant without IGN,
Oh.
as we've all learned. You see how I brought that back from a previous commentary I've done?
My
Look
goodness.
at my use of relevant information. Now that we've delayed this for about a minute into the commentary, let's get into the actual review that I want to
Very
do
well.
here. And where better to start that than the single-player campaign. Now, the campaign is not something that's been traditional in a Battlefield series. It started with the Bad Company series, which had its own little branch off, where you followed a squad who were quite humorous, and they had the famed Blackhawk pilot Flynn in Bad Company 2, who was amazing, and his death was so heroic that made the campaign for me in that game.
Flynn.
But needless to say, the campaigns, all in all, weren't too fantastic by any means. So Battlefield 3 was essentially looking to make up for that, and they released multiple trailers detailing just how story intensive they actually were, and how much they wanted to improve upon the campaign itself. So essentially, that's the first thing I went to when I got Battlefield 3 on the midnight release. Went right into the story mode, and it starts you off in a bang. You are essentially just tossed into the action without any real idea as to what's going on, and then eventually you progress further and further into the story. But the campaign itself, I don't want to spoil anything about the campaign, but essentially there really is no break in the action in this campaign. Everything is so constant that really there's no time to reflect on that amount of action. So the action is kind of just drowned out, and everything just seems the same. So it's not really a dynamic set of missions. Granted, you'll have your stealth mission, your sniper mission, those types of things, which are very nice to see, but you want to see more of them so that you can reflect on the typical numerous enemies that you end up facing in most every first-person shooter campaign.
Indeed.
So it's not like I can just come out and say that, Battlefield 3 is the first to have this wealth of enemies just coming at you, hordes or anything like that, because that's typical with the genre itself. But you would like to see them be a little more dynamic in how they come about doing them. But
Yes.
alright, what was your take on the campaign, Michael?
I mean, I completely agree with what you just said. It was good. I don't know, the first couple missions there when you're with your squad, and I guess the last part too, I don't really know. When you're with the squad, it seems so realistic, and then the problem is that, as you've explained previously, they'll end up standing right next to the enemy, not shooting. Or what gets me is that they're shooting your friends here. They're shooting the enemy, suppressing them, right? But the enemy's still standing up, not taking any hits or anything, and they're shooting you. because all eyes are on you. They realize that you are a god, apparently,
Indeed.
and will take the entire Russian or terrorist armies by yourself there.
Yes, and I'm once again I can't complain because that's typical with the genre where your soldier is the super soldier. He does everything. He can fly a plane. He can go in stealthily. He's a sniper from over 1,000 meters. It's very impressive. But I guess there's no way around it if you want to build an action-packed first-person shooter campaign. But
Indeed.
I will say this: I enjoyed the beginning. I really didn't favor the ending or the middle portion of the campaign very much, but the ending really renewed my interest in the story, and it kind of made the campaign for me to a point where I actually really enjoyed it, and I would put it up to the level at which I enjoyed the Medal of Honor campaign, which to me is still one of the best single-player first-person shooter campaigns around. But other than that, I would say the campaign is average, above average, if you were to compare it to other games in the genre.
I see. Yes, I would. I would also agree with that statement of opinion.
All right. Other than that, we have the co-op campaign, which really I can't give too much insight into, as it hasn't been mine or yours topic of interest. Obviously, we would have played that together, but essentially we've been more multiplayer driven. But the consensus,
Tad bit.
yes, the consensus surrounding the co-op campaign is that it is actually much better than the campaign itself, because the missions are dynamic. They heavily rely on teamwork, and as opposed to where you have a squad of guys who are AI and really have no ability to shoot the enemy, you actually have a partner who you can use teamwork with and actually essentially get something done. And as far as I'm concerned, there are some vehicle missions where you'll have a pilot and then a gunner or something to that effect. So obviously it's a nice touch. And then you go on to unlock multiplayer weapons in the co-op campaign after completing so many of them with achieving so much score. So all in all, it's a really dynamic experience, which essentially adds on to multiplayer itself, which is obviously the selling points of Battlefield. So people are obviously going to be driven to go play the co-op missions as well, which is nice. But Michael, do you have any opinion regarding co-op?
As you stated, we haven't even touched that yet. I am looking forward to it, but we're just kind of into the multiplayer right now, and if that ever gets a tad bit old, we can just go do co-op for a little bit.
Indeed.
I would suggest perhaps we film the co-op.
I was thinking about that. I wanted to do that. That'd be nice.
So maybe that's our future.
Indeed.
Indeed, and that would probably, well, actually, Christmas break coming up, so I actually might be able to get a high quality voice for once. So yes.
All right.
Co-op, good.
Yep,
Alright,
co-op good.
move
We'll
on.
put that above campaign. But yes, co-op good. Good, very descriptive. But anyway, as we said, the selling point of every Battlefield game is none other than its multiplayer. In a game that had no single player, no co-op before, multiplayer was the reason people came to Battlefield. It was every reason that the game sold millions of copies. It was every reason that Battlefield 3 was so sought after the success of Battlefield 2 on the PC. So, how do we feel about multiplayer? Well, after going to the midnight release, after playing this game for a little bit over a day now, and I do feel that's excessive considering the game has only been out for close to 2 weeks now. I can honestly say this is by far the best multiplayer experience I have ever had on any game, regardless of platform. I don't know if you feel the same way, Michael.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other multiplayer, but really, it just would go back to Bad Company, and of course this is beating that. So yeah, I would actually agree with that. This is definitely the best multiplayer experience. It's just fabulous, Sam. It's just fabulous.
Well, thank you for your very descriptive words
Yeah.
there. But
Right.
essentially what makes it fabulous is the sheer amount of unlocks, the sheer amount of dynamic gameplay that you're promised in a Battlefield game. Not only does the battle change depending on every game, because every map is so large, there's so much action. You can play the same map 100 times, and every time you'll have a front set up in different spots on the map. You'll have different situations taking place. You'll be going behind cover. You'll be holding up a front. You'll be sitting there with an LMG on a bipod, absolutely mowing down a squad of guys, which is obviously fantastic and very, very entertaining. But the in-depth unlock system, to the point where you can specialize your jets, you can specialize your helicopters, your tanks, your APCs, your IFVs, your transport vehicles, and then obviously your classes, which have been better packaged. Bring back the more traditional Battlefield 2 setup in that sense, but really everything has just been refurbished. Everything is new. Destruction is quite amazing. And even on the consoles, Battlefield 3 is some of the most impressive, displays some of the most impressive graphics that I have seen to date, especially with the high-resolution texture pack that is available to install on your hard drive and things related to that. But certainly, the replay value here is definitely in multiplayer, but I don't think anyone expected anything short of that. So, obviously, hundreds of hours of gameplay could be taken from multiplayer, and I really don't think anyone could argue that. So I don't know, Michael, opinions.
Well, as you just stated, I really can't argue against you in any sort of way. It is, as I stated, also is fabulous. I don't know, the definite unlock system. Because in Bad Company, we both were able to complete all classes at the level of 24.
Yep.
Here we are at like 30s, low 30s, and we still have a long ways to go.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's pretty awesome.
Yep. But in conclusion here, we'll give a little wrap up as to how we feel about the game. So, why would you buy Battlefield 3? I wouldn't buy it for the campaign. I wouldn't buy it for the co-op, but I would always buy it for the multiplayer. It is well worth the $60. It is well worth far more than $60 for the sheer amount of hours of gameplay you're gonna get out of the game.
And there's also going to be a lot more
Yes,
DLCs coming
yes,
out.
3
right?
times the DLC of the Bad Company 2 game. So you're looking at something close to 21 map packs. I don't know how that'll pan out, but that's what the community has been speculating, and I surely hope that's what's going to happen. But I mean, obviously we've got the Back to Karkan pack coming out this December, followed by what I just heard, our maps set in New York City is the planned DLC after that, which is awesome because I'm a big fan of the city map, the urban map, so I look forward to that, as long as that pans out to be true.
So, could I sit on the Statue of Liberty and snipe people?
We can hope so. And then again, I don't know if we want to hope so.
Yeah, no, that probably maybe meant, but
Alright.
oh, it's alright.
Well, I am Pet the Cats,
And I'm showing.
and we hope you have enjoyed this somewhat unbiased view of Battlefield 3. We thank you for watching.